Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Provoking Thoughts broadcast. I am your host, Natasha Pierre, and I'm delighted to be with you once again. And tonight, I have a very special guest, no stranger to the show, the Honorable Mayor of the City of District Heights, Maryland, Johnathan Medlock. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Natasha. I'm glad to be back again to do this show and talk more about provoking thoughts. Let's provoke the thoughts of the people, not only in our respective areas, but around the world.
Absolutely. And I'm putting up on the screen, I mentioned City of District Heights Mayor, but there's a host of other things that you do and a host of other titles that you have, including being a board member for the Revenue Authority of Prince George's County, legislative chair for the Maryland Black Mayors, behavioral health ambassador, which we are going to talk about for Prince George's County. I want to start with, what did you want to do and be when you were a kid?
Oh, wow. I think one of the biggest things, Natasha, probably the premier thing that I wanted to do and be, I wanted to really take over the world. And what does that mean? Not with control, but with the branding and with the God head that was in me. Even the way I thought at 9 years old, I wanted to be more than what I was and where I was. From a small country in Georgia, county in Georgia. I just wanted to do more. So whatever that is, I wanted to do. I believe I wanted to teleport at one point in time, Natasha. I said, it's possible. I'm going to make it happen. So this teleportation is closer than we even imagine. And I've had a chance and opportunity to live a portion of that. It's starting to really happen. It's the voice. It starts with a whisper, right? And I think I've whispered it long enough, and in these positions, I have a chance to scream for justice.
So when you look at, I'm going to say your ascent, you don't have to say it. When you look at your ascent from 2013, really to now, you've had several elected and appointed positions in a time that would take a person to complete one. Now to the point that you are mayor of a city, you've been county commissioner, you're serving as a board member of the Revenue Authority. When you look at everything, all the positions that you've had, are you proud?
I am very proud of myself, and I have to be. I'm honored, humbled, all those words that will come to mind for what has been given to me, really, to do. So I have a work to do. I'm excited about it. You mentioned that I was the legislative chair of the Maryland Black Mayors. Now I'm the president of the Maryland Black Mayors as of a month ago. So, that is, again, stepping up in purpose and where I need to be. So leading and being the head of an organization for all Black mayors in the state of Maryland is an honor by itself. And I was selected by all the mayors who are a part of this organization to really be a part of what's going on. So I'm humble again with that. So yes, I had a quick ascension in this particular arena, and I owe it all to the people around me and the things that we've done together. So I'm truly humble.
And for people walking in on the 2022 chapter of your story, it looks like you may have seemingly come out of nowhere. But even before you began to pursue a career in politics and work as an elected official, you were a part of the community. Tell us a little bit about your grassroots work that got you even to be interested in this point.
Well, Natasha, started off with organizing with the National Black United Front here in the DMV. For those who aren't from the DMV, that's DC, Maryland, and Virginia, really doing the grassroots organizing, Natasha, activism, being engaged, boots on the ground. And I chaired that organization for many years. And the organizing is very tough, going door to door, making sure that we take care of our own community. So I did that for years, almost 10 years. And the natural order of things is to get the resources for our community. So I was, given the opportunity to say, hey, go into politics, That's where the resources lie. And so I pivoted in 2013 to run for office, and here I am.
The natural order of things. I know many people who are a little bit disenfranchised with just elected officials and politics, and they think that their vote doesn't count and doesn't matter. What do you say to those people?
Oh my God. You know what? When I organized, I used to be so disheartened in what I saw that was happening, going on, that I wanted to be a part of it. So I said, if I could insert myself into this problem that I see, I could actually change it, Natasha, and not just speak about it from a vantage point where there was no real work being done. There was no real impact. So with any disease that I saw, you want to attack it from the root, and that's what happened. The community, I really attacked it as being a part of change agent for real. I don't like talking much. I just like to do the things that set my mind out to do, and that's what I did. So it was a natural progression, and was it easy? Absolutely not. Was it necessary? Absolutely. This is why I'm here now.
How are you getting this next generation of youth, of young adults, to even have an interest in politics?
Uh, by being a living example. What they see is what they'll be, Natasha.
Mhm.
One of the things I try to do is emulate what I want our young people to be like. So I walk like this every day, head up, chin up, shoulders back, because I know it's important that we not only talk about the work that we do. Our kids need to see it in action. Really quick, one of the things that I did when I first moved to this city is I walked to the elementary school, knocked on the door, talked to the principal, and said, "Give me something to do. If I have to sweep floors or paint walls, let these young people see me working and doing the work in their city. That gives me opportunity to mentor, not only through what they hear, but what they see me doing,
Mhm.
and it's doing the work."
Where is this passion coming from? Where does it come from? Because from providing meals, providing coats and clothing, book bag drives, being Santa last
Yeah, well,
last Christmas.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not what you do isn't typically what many people associate as the work that a politician and an elected official will do. Where does the passion for the people, the passion for your community, where does that come from?
Well, Natasha, you're right. It's passion for our people, and not the political politics of it all.
Mhm.
I don't play politics. My passion comes from, oh my God, like I said, since I was 9 years old, understanding what I needed to do. I was always a protector, and I was always a warrior. So those two
Mhm.
things come to me naturally. I don't know they're innate, where exactly those things, you know, where it started, but I understand what I needed to do. And once I started really fighting the waves of what the purpose was that I had in my life, this is the end result. So I started to really follow in and walk in that particular purpose and started doing the work. It came from God. I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call that spiritual guidance, that's what led me here and leads me continually on.
Let's do some word association.
Okay.
Um, Ukraine.
Let my people go. And I say that only because I've heard today, as you probably read and saw, that um, there were some African um,
Mhm.
Africans held in Ukraine, and it hurt me, hurt my heart when I heard that news that they wouldn't let them go. And the atrocities that's happening throughout the country anyway, and throughout the world. It saddens me. But when we have our people in bondage and captivity,
Mhm.
we have to speak up and we have to speak out. So that part made me sad, not just for the Ukrainian people, but all the people who are suffering, and especially for those faces that look like mine and yours.
Coronavirus.
I know this is probably not the best word, but there's an opportunity, Natasha.
Hmm.
Even if through this pandemic, there was an opportunity for us to regroup and regather ourselves, to strengthen our communities, to come together when our backs against the cold brick. Something that most of us have done, but not all of us. This is the point in time when, in 2020, when coronavirus first hit, it should have brought us together, and it did for a lot of people. So it allowed us to really come together and make some things happen as a community. I got most of my work was done in the height of the pandemic.
Hmm.
I worked harder through the pandemic than I did, even outside of that, if that could happen. So this is an opportunity. It's a sad state of affairs for a lot of people, but we have to really look in and find the positive in every single thing we do, and
Hmm.
find and be great, gracious, and even in through this pandemic.
You did something very brave. We're going to come back to the word associations, but I wouldn't even say brave, but leaders lead. That's one of the things that I say. Leaders lead. And when the vaccines were rolled out
Mm,
last year, you did something. You took a public stance
yeah.
with the vaccines. Tell us a little bit about what you did.
Well, leaders lead, like you said. So I had to be, the one to step up front. Somebody has to be strong. Somebody has to lead from the front. And so I made sure that I was the first one in my city, throughout my elected officials, my staff, employees, and city residents, to be the first one to get the vaccination. And from that point, letting and putting the word out to the community that this is safe, and that we have to move forward. And I got the vaccination. Then from that point, started having vaccination clinics all throughout the city, throughout at churches, local churches here in the community, in the community centers, and throughout the area. And people showed up in the thousands to get vaccinated and to do even COVID testing throughout the community. And matter of fact, we had one just last week. So it's an ongoing, continual thing. So at this point, from when the vaccination came out until now, we've vaccinated tens of thousands of people within the area. And I don't just limit it to the city. I limit it to people that are around the city as well, because we all need to be served. And if their cities can't or not able or capable to serve at that time, why not?
Absolutely. And you actually was recorded getting your vaccine and you shared that publicly. So thank you for that, because I think sometimes people need permission, and from your role, your position, for you to take the lead and to do it first, I think it gave some people comfort that it was okay for them to do it. What
Absolutely.
have you seen over the last 2 years as mayor, how people have been dealing with the pandemic and all of the adjacent issues that it brought?
Yeah. Well, we all see the mental health crises that
Hmm.
is ravishing our communities more than any drug can do. The mental health crises now is some would say out of control. One of the things that I appreciate about you, Natasha, and we talk about be brave, right?
Hmm.
We've started this conversation years ago, because we understood that things were coming, and we were not afraid to talk about the subject matter then, when it was unpopular.
Right.
Talk about the anxiety and panic attacks and depression. So I see that there's a lot of that happening within our communities. We're a lot more sympathetic and empathetic to people who deal with those mental health crises. And
Hmm.
one of the things I like to do is just really provide the help and opportunity to anyone I can. But I've seen that happening. I've seen also communities come together. I've seen communities and people coalesce, even in this particular crisis, so which is refreshing. But I've also seen some disheartening things too, Natasha, where people are just working from the I position
Hmm.
and not the we. And that is something that we cannot root out, but we have to continue to move forward,
Hmm.
in helping those who will, uh, uh, accept the help. And for those who don't, we still do the work.
You touched on mental health, so
Mm.
let's go there. It is, at the start of the pandemic, I was saying that the next pandemic to hit, U.S.
So
soil would be mental health and nature, and I think we're here. I
we are.
think that 2.5 years in, people who are strong in month one, year one, they're experiencing that mental fatigue, and you are a behavioral health ambassador. Tell us what that is and how it came to be.
Well, it's speaking again about mental health and the advocacy that I had. I started once again, having conversations with you, Natasha, many, many years ago. Uh, we knowing that this is what happened, I got involved and I became a commissioner within the county on the Human Relations
Mhm.
Commission. I started pushing for that human relations piece throughout the county, fighting for that mental health piece, right? And we started working on the program for that and working on how that looked. And from that, once I left the commission, I continued the work. And once that work continued, I said, let me use this platform that I have to continue to talk about it and to continue to advocate. So what I do on my platform as mayor, as the president of the Maryland Black Mayors, as all the positions that I hold on the board, is to use this platform to tell people it's okay. We all go through it, and to start the
Mhm.
conversation, to keep the conversation going. And I think some of the things we have to do, Natasha, is humanize mental health. Right? People
Mhm.
look at us and look at me a lot of times, and I know you can relate, and they think, okay, we don't deal with or go through the same thing that they're dealing with, which is a misnomer. We are dealing with the exact same thing. It's how we, I say, if you change your perspective, you change your life. Most times that is the absolute case, but sometimes we need help out of that and
Mhm.
help with perspective changing. And that's what I do as far as from the mental health platform, continue to engage the conversation, have mental health clinics. My mental health first aid, Natasha, will be on March 8th.
Very good.
Oh,
Tuesday, March 8th. Very good. Very good. I sent you a question today. I said, "Do mayors have tough days?" And your reply was,
no, no,
"Let me
what
re-
was my reply?
let me." He said, "Let me rephrase. Do mayors have easy days?"
Do we have easy days? Tough.
For people who because we've spoken about mental health several times
Yeah.
before, and I cite you as being very, very an integral part of my recovery, my mental health journey, all of that. For people who are not aware even of your connection to mental health separate from me, tell us about why you're so passionate about mental health, mental wellness, and ensuring that people get the care that they need.
Yeah. One thing, being from the South, and I know it's everywhere, but Black communities, African American communities, African Caribbean communities, it is so taboo to have that conversation.
Mhm.
You suffer in silence. So, I was tired. At a certain point, you break down and you get tired of being silent. And I was. I dealt with anxiety myself for many, many years. I had panic attacks, which aren't the best thing in the world. They are extremely scary. I felt alone. I felt that I wasn't able to talk to anyone, Natasha. Being a man, being a strong Black man, being in these positions, how would they look at me then?
Mhm.
It came a point where I didn't care because my health, my mental health was more important than what they had to say about me.
Mhm.
And from those points many years ago, the more I released, the higher I rose. So this didn't stop me. This only fueled me. Speaking about mental health, so getting into that platform is from a personal thing. It is very, very personal to me, and seeing those around me. So once you have an anxiety attack or panic attack, Natasha, you can see it in everybody that's around you, that comes into
Mhm.
your circle. You can see it as plain as day. I call it the whiskers, right? The whiskers of the
Right,
cat. You can
right.
tell and detect everything around you. So that was my gift, if you will, to be able to see it, but now also be in a position to do something about it.
Mhm. I'll share the little story. 2013, when I first moved to Tampa, and I thought that I was in great mental health recovery, but I moved to a new state, new city, new place, new job, new everything, and I was having some challenges. And you were the one who encouraged me to go and see a psychiatrist, go into therapy, get back on medication because you saw in me what you had dealt with before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. It's been challenging for a lot of people living in the pandemic, dealing with all of the issues and concerns. It's also been challenging a lot for our military,
Oh God.
and especially in light of everything that's happening in Ukraine, from stop loss to just flashbacks and memories of war to wondering if they're going to be called back. And you're in the Maryland area, which has many, not only veterans, but also active duty. What are you saying to those in your community about their mental health as it relates to what's happening in the world?
Yeah. I've been definitely receiving calls and just calls of comfort, really.
Hmm.
And a lot of times when men call me, we don't generally say, "Hey, I need to talk to you because I'm spazzing out, I'm going through." We just want to talk. We just want to hear
Hmm.
that voice. So I've been that listening ear, Natasha, for many of my veterans and active duty members. And working with Department of Defense members from Army, Navy,
Hmm.
Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, the whole nine, working with these young men and women, and they are frazzled. And if I can lend an ear to, 5 and 10 a day, just to check in and see how they're doing, that means more than anything else. The comfort
Hmm.
that brings is unable to be measured. You can't measure that. So that's one of the things I do. I show up, I'm visible, I'm available, I'm accessible, and I can lead them to the resources that are available for them. Because I can't be everywhere at all times.
Right.
At least get you to the resources that'll help you cope through those times. Because I've seen so many people, I've heard so many people, even in my area, the suicide rate, how it is
Hmm.
among Black men and military members. It's so alarming. And we, of course, you remember a few weeks ago, we lost one of the mayors here, um,
Hmm.
suicide. So I had a conversation with a few of my mayors today, and I was like, if you need a conversation, you need to talk, you need to reach out to me. And I'm not going to just be a leader from the outside, but inside too. And so
Hmm.
take everything that I say in love, and they do, they appreciate that. And I want to continue to lead in that same vein.
Let's talk about support and the way support looks, the way support shows up, because just from conversations that I'm having, I think a lot of people still aren't aware of the way that support can look. You mentioned if you need to talk, call me. Need to have a conversation, call me. And I still credit you. I don't think this is a secret, but I still credit you as being on my support team when it comes to mental health. Because the reality is, when you live a public life,
Mhm.
when you are known for being strong and in control and having it all together, it takes someone else in a similar strong public role to be able to support you in the way that you need. And that's just the truth of it for
Yeah.
me. For people who are watching and they're thinking, yeah, you know what, my uncle, my dad, my mom, my cousin, my friend, they're not doing so well and I don't know what to do, what would you say to them?
Well, uh, if you remember, Natasha, I think throughout the years and going through those particular crises, you had probably three people, probably two or three people that you had that was really that you were able to talk to. If it wasn't me, it was somebody else. It was,
Hmm.
and we bounced and we all took care of that. We made sure we stood in the gaps for each other and made sure that we surrounded you, really like a mini village. And I think that is the biggest thing that we need to do. Not only do people talk to me, but I once again lead them to the others who can also have that same level of understanding and passion and guidance, Natasha. And we one of the main things that I tell men is that sometimes you have to lose control in order to gain
Hmm.
it. Right? Sometimes we got to give up something. Sometimes we have to give up that pride in order to save our lives, literally. So, I can speak this way to other men and say to them, you know what, man, let's talk. what's going on? How you feel?
Right.
And nah, man, like I'm good. I just, and I'm like, just talk, brother. And we can talk. Now we're on the phone for 30, 45 minutes, and their mind is off that thing that it was on, and that was so heavy. But understanding being a man, understanding how we operate and work, it's to my advantage, really, in this mental health sphere. And we're going to continue to build on this. There's so many people coming up and coming out of the shadows now and saying that, let me help. I was in the barbershop today, and a young man said, Mayor, let me know what you're doing next in this area of mental health, because I want to be there and help and support. I want to volunteer in some capacity or another. And that was mind blowing. Those type of things happen all the time, Natasha.
Mm-hmm. It's it's refreshing, I think, for not only for me, but for other people who watch and who are watching, to know that, mayors care
Mm,
about this,
yeah,
that mayors aren't exempt from tough days, that everything isn't, roses as soon as they get elected. And it's
yeah,
refreshing to know that you still have a pulse on
yeah,
what's happening in your community. What about other elected officials? I know you mentioned speaking to other mayors in your area. If there's a senator, a councilman, a congressman, a school board official that's watching right now, and they are suffering in silence because they don't have a friend that
yeah,
understands their life and their work. And even many times, they don't understand the importance of the confidentiality, because stigma is real.
yeah,
And, that's a whole other show I'll have to bring you back
yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah.
Stigma is real. But for our elected officials, appointed officials who are watching, it's like, man, I don't have anyone in my life that I can tell what I'm going through. What do you say to them?
If you're watching this, and if you're an elected official in this area, you know me. You know my genuineness. You know my real concern for our community. And there is nothing that I've said to anyone, and I can say that publicly, that is being spread out. These are no loose lips sink ships. There is confidentiality. There is you don't need to sign no papers. You don't need to sign anything. You don't need to do anything. Pick up the phone. You have my number. Reach out to me. Let me know what it is. Just talk to me. We don't even have to talk about nothing profound or nothing that important. Just pick up the phone, because we've seen so much loss, and we're all going through the same thing. Just
Mhm.
understand that we're all going through the same thing. And if I could just be a vessel that at least helps and support, I want to be that. Sometimes, Natasha, we need more than prayer too. We need
Right.
people. We need prayer, people, and we need to combine those two, and really make some things happen, because it's not going to go away if we don't do the work. And you know, and I think that's what we need to do. So, any elected officials, anybody in this area who knows me, please reach out to me, and let's talk before you make any decisive decisions in your life that is on the negative. Let's talk and let's move things in a positive way.
You're in my head because today I wrote down that after 2.5 years of living in a pandemic, people do not want random pearls of wisdom, gems, quotes, scriptures, thoughts, and prayers, or love and light without context. If you are unable to give them practical application for the spiritual principles that you spew, save your words. You're doing more harm than good.
Mm, period.
And
Drop.
drop the mic. And I think that's what you're talking about. Like, this is a time,
Yeah.
from the very beginning, back in 2013, one of the things that you always spoke about was community, 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 before it was a popular thing to say.
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about. And we have an opportunity right now when people are really hurting to demonstrate community. And it is refreshing to see
Yeah.
that you are, this isn't just a title for you.
Uh,
This isn't just,
yeah.
a cool addition to your LinkedIn bio. You're actually doing the work.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We have to stop saying we will die for each other. Natasha, I'm ready to live for you and live with you and live for our people and make things happen collectively and together. It is always forward ever and backwards never, and that's in every every sense of the word. Let's continue to move our communities forward, Natasha. Let's continue to do the work. I'll continue to be here. I'll continue to support you and those around you and those who are watching this video. Please, this is not for show. This is for show. So let's continue to do the work. Had to get that in.
This is not for show. This is not for show. This is for show. I love it. Forward ever, backwards never. That's something that you've been saying for, forever. The Honorable Mayor of the City of District Heights, Johnathan M. Medlock. Thank you. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to know you. It's a pleasure to call you friend. And I know that we've got a lot of work that we're going to be doing in the upcoming months. So I will see you again soon. For everyone who's joining us, thank you so much for being here. This is Provoking Thoughts, and I am Natasha Pierre, and I'll be back next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll see you then. Good night.
Good night.